Maya Santos wiped the sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. It was another hot afternoon in Los Angeles, and the small repair shop felt like an oven. She stood alone in the garage, staring at a half-finished Honda Civic that had been sitting there for 3 days. The owner still hadn't paid the deposit, and Maya was starting to think he never would. She looked around the shop that had been her whole world for the past 10 years. The walls were covered with old photos of classic cars. Most of them showed her father standing proudly next to vehicles he had restored. In every picture, he wore the same wide smile. Maya remembered taking most of those photos herself when she was younger. Her father had taught her everything about cars. When she was just 8 years old, he had let her hold the flashlight while he worked under the hood of a 1967 Mustang. By the time she was 12, she could change oil and replace brake pads. At 16, she had rebuilt her first engine with him guiding her every step. He always said she had magic hands when it came to fixing cars. The shop had belonged to him for 30 years before he passed away. Maya inherited it when she was 22, scared but determined to keep his legacy alive. For a while, business had been good. People knew her father's name and they trusted his daughter. But things had changed in the last few years. Big corporate repair chains had moved into the neighborhood. They offered quick service and flashy advertising. They had teams of mechanics and modern equipment. Maya worked alone most days because she couldn't afford to pay anyone else. The bills kept piling up and customers kept going to the bigger shops. She walked to her small desk in the corner of the garage. Papers covered every inch of it. Most of them were bills painted red with past due stamps. The worst one sat on top. It was a final notice from the bank about the shop's mortgage. She had 2 months to catch up on payments or they would take the building. Maya picked up the notice and read it again, even though she had memorized every word. $23,000. That's what she needed to save her father's shop. It might as well have been $1 million. Her phone rang, making her jump. She answered it quickly, hoping it might be a customer. Santos Auto Repair, she said, trying to sound professional and hopeful. Yeah, I need a car fixed fast, a man's voice said on the other end. He sounded rushed and stressed. Real fast. Like crazy fast. Maya grabbed a pen. What kind of car? What's wrong with it? It's a 1970 Dodge Charger. Needs a full restoration. The thing's been sitting in a warehouse for years. It's pretty beat up. Maya's heart started beating faster. She loved working on classic muscle cars, especially Chargers. Her father had restored 2 of them during her childhood. But a full restoration? That took months, sometimes a whole year. A full restoration usually takes a long time, Maya explained carefully. How soon do you need it done? 3 weeks, Maya almost laughed. 3 weeks? Sir, that's impossible. A restoration means rebuilding the engine, fixing the transmission, bodywork, paint, interior. I'd need at least 3 months, probably more. Look, I know it's tight, but this is for a film production. We need this car for a movie shoot. Money's not a problem. I'll pay double your normal rate, triple if you finish on time. Maya sat down hard in her father's old chair. Triple rate? She did some quick math in her head. If she charged properly for a rush restoration job at triple rate, that could be enough. More than enough to pay the bank and keep the shop running for months. Can you bring the car by so I can look at it? She asked. Tow truck will have it there in an hour. I'll send pictures now. Her phone buzzed with incoming photos. Maya's stomach dropped as she looked at them. The Charger was in terrible shape. The body had rust holes the size of basketballs. The hood was dented and bent. She couldn't even see the engine clearly in the photos, but she could tell it would need major work. This wasn't just difficult. This was nearly impossible. 3 weeks to do 6 months of work. She'd have to work every single day, probably 20 hours a day. She'd have to call in every favor she had to get parts delivered fast. She'd have to be perfect because there was no time to fix mistakes. But she needed this job. The shop needed this job. I'll do it, Maya heard herself say. Send the car over. She hung up and immediately wondered if she had just made a huge mistake. Then she looked at her father's photo on the wall. He was standing next to a gorgeous black Charger, the same model as the one coming to her shop. His smile seemed to say, "You can do this." The tow truck arrived exactly 1 hour later. Maya walked outside to meet it, her work boots crunching on the gravel. The driver lowered the flatbed, and Maya got her first real look at the Charger. It was worse than the photos showed. Much worse. The orange paint had faded and peeled away in huge sections. Both bumpers were hanging loose. The passenger door had a massive dent that had pushed the metal inward. 3 of the windows were cracked. The tires were flat and rotting. "Where do you want it?" the driver asked. "Bay 2, Maya said, pointing to the empty space in her garage. She watched as the Charger was rolled off the truck. It made sad creaking sounds as it moved. When it was finally positioned in her garage, the driver handed her a clipboard. "Sign here. Good luck with that thing. Looks like it needs a miracle more than a mechanic." Maya signed the papers and watched the truck drive away. Then she stood alone with the Charger, circling it slowly. She ran her hand along the hood, feeling the rough texture of rust and old paint. She opened the driver's door, which groaned in protest. The interior was torn and dirty. The dashboard was cracked. The steering wheel was wrapped in duct tape. She popped the hood and looked at the engine. It was covered in dust and grime, but she could see enough to know the truth. This engine was dead. It would need to be completely rebuilt, maybe replaced entirely. Maya pulled out her phone and opened her notes app. She started making a list of everything that needed to be done. The list got longer and longer. Engine rebuild, transmission replacement, bodywork on both doors, hood, trunk, and roof. New windows, interior restoration, complete paint job, brake system, suspension, electrical system. The list went on for 3 pages. She sat on her rolling stool and stared at the car. 3 weeks, 21 days. She calculated in her head. If she worked 20 hours a day, that gave her 420 hours. Could it be done? Most mechanics would have said no. Most mechanics would have turned down the job as insane. But Maya wasn't most mechanics. Her father had taught her to see potential where others saw junk. He had taught her that every car could be saved with enough skill and love. She stood up and walked to her tool chest. It was the same red snap-on chest her father had used for 40 years. She opened the top drawer and pulled out her favorite wrench. The handle was worn smooth from decades of use. First by her father's hands, then by hers. "Okay, Dad," she said quietly, looking at his photo. "Let's see if your daughter still has magic hands." Maya pulled her long black hair into a ponytail and tied on her work apron. She grabbed a notepad and started a detailed inspection of the Charger. She would need to document everything, order parts tonight, and start tearing down the engine first thing in the morning. As she worked, taking notes and photos, she felt the familiar excitement that came with a challenge. Yes, it was impossible. Yes, she would barely sleep for 3 weeks. Yes, she might fail and lose everything, but she also might succeed. She might save this car and save her shop at the same time. And if she did, her father would be proud. Maya worked until midnight that first night, making lists and ordering parts. She called old contacts and begged for rush deliveries. She mapped out a schedule that would have her working from 5 in the morning until 1 at night. Every single day for 3 weeks. When she finally locked up the shop and walked to her small apartment 3 blocks away, she felt exhausted, but determined. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. Tomorrow, she would start bringing this broken Charger back to life. She just hoped 3 weeks would be enough. Maya's alarm went off at 4:30 in the morning. She hadn't really slept anyway. Her mind had been racing all night, thinking about the Charger and everything that needed to be done. She got dressed in the dark, made strong coffee, and walked to the shop while the streets were still empty. The first week was brutal. Maya started each day by pulling apart another section of the car. The engine came out on day 2. It took her 8 hours working with a rented engine hoist. When she finally had it on her workbench, she spent another 3 hours just cleaning away years of built-up grease and dirt. What she found underneath wasn't good. 2 cylinders had cracks. The pistons were seized. The crankshaft was worn down. She would need to replace almost everything. She had already ordered new parts, but they wouldn't arrive for 5 more days. That meant she had to move on to other work while she waited. Days 3 and 4 were spent on bodywork. Maya used a grinder to cut away the rusted metal. The dust filled the shop, coating everything in orange powder. She wore a respirator mask, but by the end of each day she still tasted metal. Her arms ached from holding the grinder for hours. Her back hurt from bending over the car's body panels. She worked alone in the quiet shop with only the radio for company. Sometimes she talked to her father's photo on the wall. "Look at this rust, Dad. It goes all the way through. I'm going to have to fabricate new panels." Or, "Remember that 72 Charger we did? This one's worse than that." Talking to his photo made her feel less alone. It also helped her think through problems. Her father had always said that explaining a problem out loud helps you find the solution. On day 5, Mrs. Chen from the restaurant next door brought her lunch. "You're going to die in here," the older woman said, setting down a container of fried rice and orange chicken. "I see your lights on at 2 in the morning. You never leave." "I have a deadline," Maya said, not looking up from the door panel she was hammering back into shape. "Your father would tell you to take a break. My father would tell me to finish the job." Mrs. Chen shook her head but smiled. Stubborn. Just like him. She left the food and went back to her restaurant. Maya ate while she worked, barely tasting the food. She had no time to stop. The calendar on the wall reminded her that she had 16 days left. The engine parts still hadn't arrived. The transmission was worse than she thought, and she had barely started on the interior. Day 6 brought the first major problem. The custom parts she ordered for the transmission didn't fit. The supplier had sent the wrong size. Maya spent an hour on the phone arguing with them. They promised to send the right parts overnight, but that meant losing a whole day of work. She slammed the phone down and wanted to scream. Instead, she took a deep breath and looked at what else she could do. The brake system. She could rebuild that while she waited. Keep moving forward. Always forward. That night, she didn't leave until 3 in the morning. She set up a small cot in the corner of the shop. Why waste time walking home when she could sleep here and wake up ready to work? The second week was harder than the first. Maya's body was breaking down. Her hands had cuts and blisters. Her shoulders burned with pain. She had a constant headache from the fumes and dust, but she kept working. The engine parts finally arrived on day 8. Maya spent the next 3 days rebuilding the engine from scratch. This was the work she loved most. Every piece fit together like a puzzle. She knew exactly where each bolt went, how tight each connection needed to be. Her hands moved with confidence even though she was exhausted. She remembered being 15 watching her father rebuild an engine. He had let her do some of it herself. "Feel that?" he had said, guiding her hands. "When it's right, you can feel it. The pieces want to go together. You're not forcing them. You're helping them find their place." Maya felt that now as she assembled the Charger's new engine. Despite her tiredness, despite the pressure, this part felt good. This part felt right. On day 11, she had a visitor. Old Tommy from the parts store stopped by with a delivery. He was 72 and had known Maya's father for 40 years. "Heard you're doing something crazy in here," he said, looking at the torn-apart Charger. 3-week restoration? That's insane." "I know," Maya said, installing a new fuel pump. "Your dad did something like this once. Some rich guy needed a Corvette fixed for his wedding. 2 weeks to do a month's worth of work. Your dad did it, though. Didn't sleep for the last 4 days. Just worked straight through." Maya looked up. "I didn't know that story. He never told you?" "He was proud of it, said it was the hardest job he ever did, but he said it reminded him why he loved this work. When it's hard, that's when you find out what you're really made of." Tommy left, but his words stayed with Maya. She looked at the photo of her father. "Is that why you're making me do this?" "To find out what I'm made of." The photo didn't answer, but Maya felt like she already knew. She was made of the same thing her father was: determination, skill, love for the work, and stubbornness that wouldn't let her quit. Day 12 brought the second major crisis. The paint supplier called. They couldn't get the original orange color. It was a special shade from 1970, and they didn't have the formula. They could do something close, but it wouldn't be exact. "Not good enough," Maya said. "I need exact." She spent 2 hours calling every paint supplier in California. Finally, an old man in San Diego said he had some original 1970 Dodge paint cards. He could mix the exact color, but it would cost extra and take 3 days. "Do it," Maya said. "I'll pay whatever." The money was adding up. She was spending her triple payment on parts and rush orders, but she didn't care. This car was going to be perfect. It had to be. Day 14 and Maya was running on fumes. She had slept maybe 3 hours a night for 2 weeks. She was living on coffee and whatever food the neighbors brought her. Mrs. Chen checked on her twice a day now. The baker from down the street left fresh bread by the door each morning. The community knew what she was doing. They all remembered her father. They all wanted her to succeed. Maya installed the rebuilt engine back into the car on day 15. It took 6 hours to get everything connected properly. When it was done, she stood back and looked at it. The engine bay looked beautiful. New hoses, new wiring, everything clean and organized. Her father would have approved, but she still had so much to do. The paint job, The interior. Final assembly of 1,000 small parts, and she had 6 days left. Day 16, she started the paint process. The body had to be perfectly smooth first. Maya spent 12 hours sanding, using finer and finer sandpaper until the metal was as smooth as glass. Her arms felt like rubber. She could barely lift them. But the body was ready. The special orange paint arrived on day 17. Maya worked in her spray booth, applying thin layers carefully. The color had to be perfect. Each coat had to dry before the next went on. It was slow, careful work that couldn't be rushed. She remembered her father teaching her to paint. Patience, he had said. This is where rushing will ruin everything. Let each coat dry. Take your time. The car will tell you when it's ready for more. Maya listened to the car. She waited between coats even though every minute felt like torture. The deadline was coming, but the paint had to be perfect. On day 18, disaster struck. Maya was installing the new interior when she noticed a problem. The passenger seat mounting brackets were cracked. They needed to be replaced. But these brackets were custom-made for this specific year and model. They would take a week to order. She didn't have a week. She had 3 days. Maya looked at the brackets closely. They were steel. She had a welder. She had metal stock in the back. Could she fabricate her own brackets? Most mechanics would have said it was impossible. The brackets had specific curves and mounting points. They needed to be exact or the seat wouldn't fit safely. But Maya wasn't most mechanics. She took measurements. She made drawings. She went to her metal stock and selected the right pieces. Then she went to her welding station and started cutting and shaping. It took her 16 hours straight. She didn't eat. She barely drank water. She just focused on creating the brackets from scratch. Cut, shape, weld, test fit, adjust, weld again. Her welding mask became her whole world. When she was done, the brackets fit perfectly. They were even stronger than the originals. Maya installed them and bolted the seats down. They were solid, safe, perfect. She stepped back and realized her hands were shaking. She was shaking all over. She looked at the clock. It was 6 in the morning on day 19. She had 2 days left. The car was almost done. The engine was in. The paint was dry. The interior was installed. But there were still hundreds of small details. Trim pieces, lights, chrome. All the little things that made a restoration perfect instead of just good. Maya made a list of everything that was left. She organized the work by priority. Critical systems first, then safety items, then cosmetic details. If she ran out of time, at least the important stuff would be done. Day 20 was a blur. Maya worked like a machine. Install headlights, connect turn signals, attach chrome bumpers, mount side mirrors. Every task was checked off her list. She moved from one job to the next without stopping. Mrs. Chen brought her dinner and found Maya under the car, connecting the exhaust system. "You need to sleep," she said. "Almost done," Maya said, her voice muffled. "You've been saying that for a week. This time I mean it." Day 21 arrived. The final day. Maya had been awake for 36 hours straight. She had entered a strange state where she didn't feel tired anymore. She just felt focused, clear. Every movement was precise. She installed the last pieces of chrome trim. She connected the final wiring. She filled all the fluids. She checked and double-checked every system. At 2 in the afternoon, there was only one thing left to do. Start the engine. Maya sat in the driver's seat. The new leather smelled fresh. The dashboard gleamed. Everything looked perfect. But would it run? She put the key in the ignition. Her hand was shaking again. She took a deep breath. "Please," she whispered. "Please work." She turned the key. The engine turned over once, twice, then it roared to life. The sound was beautiful, deep and powerful. Exactly how a classic Charger should sound. Maya let it run for a minute, listening to every note. The engine was perfect. She had done it. 3 weeks. 420 hours of work, and she had actually done it. Maya turned off the engine and sat in the quiet car. Then she started crying. All the stress and fear and exhaustion came out at once. She sat there crying and laughing at the same time, hardly believing what she had accomplished. When she finally got out of the car, she walked to her father's photo. "We did it, Dad, just like you would have." The Charger sat there gleaming orange under the shop lights. It looked like it had just rolled off the factory floor in 1970. No one would ever guess it had been a rust bucket 3 weeks ago. Maya's phone rang. It was the production assistant. "We're coming to pick up the car at 5. Is it ready?" Maya looked at the charger and smiled. It's ready. She had 4 hours before they arrived. She used that time to clean the shop and clean herself. She took a quick shower in the small bathroom, changed into fresh clothes, and tried to look presentable. She wanted to look professional when they picked up the car. At 4:45, she heard vehicles pulling up outside. Maya walked to the garage door, ready to open it. She was exhausted and proud. She had saved her shop. She had done the impossible, but she had no idea that the next few minutes would change everything. Maya opened the garage door. A large car carrier truck was parked in front of her shop, but there was another vehicle behind it. A sleek black SUV with tinted windows. She hadn't expected 2 vehicles. A young man in his 20s stepped out of the truck. He wore a production company shirt and carried a clipboard. "Santos Auto Repair?" he asked. "That's me," Maya said. "Maya Santos." "Great. I'm here to pick up the charger." He looked past her into the garage and his eyes went wide. "Whoa, is that it?" "That's it." "No way." "The photos I saw looked terrible." "This thing is gorgeous." Maya felt a flash of pride. "Thank you. It was a lot of work." The young man walked closer to the charger, circling it slowly. "This is insane." "I've seen the before pictures. How did you do this in 3 weeks?" "Not much sleep," Maya said with a tired smile. The door of the black SUV opened. Maya glanced over, expecting another production assistant. Instead, she saw a man step out who made her freeze in place. Vin Diesel. The actual Vin Diesel. From the Fast and Furious movies. Standing in front of her shop. Maya's brain stopped working for a moment. She had assumed this car was for some movie, but she thought it would just be picked up by crew members. She never imagined the actual star would come, and definitely not Vin Diesel himself. He was wearing jeans and a black t-shirt. Sunglasses covered his eyes. He walked toward the garage with the confidence of someone who was used to everyone knowing who he was. Maya looked down at herself. She was covered in grease despite her quick shower. Her hair was messy. She had a smudge of oil on her cheek that she hadn't noticed. She was meeting a movie star looking like she had just crawled out from under a car, which honestly she had. "Mr. Diesel is personally inspecting the car for the production," the assistant said. "He likes to check all the vehicles himself." "Oh," Maya said, because that was all she could manage. Her brain was still trying to process that Vin Diesel was walking into her father's shop. Vin Diesel removed his sunglasses and looked at the charger. His expression didn't change, but he walked around the car slowly. He examined every inch. He ran his hand along the hood. He checked the gaps between the panels. He opened the driver's door and leaned in to look at the interior. Maya stood there nervously, wiping her hands on her jeans even though they were already clean. She wanted to say something, but didn't know what. Should she introduce herself? Explain the work she did? Or just stay quiet and let him inspect? Vin Diesel walked to the front of the car. "Pop the hood," he said. His voice was exactly like it sounded in movies. Deep and calm. Maya reached in and pulled the hood release. Vin Diesel lifted the hood and propped it open. Then he just stood there looking at the engine. He looked for a long time. Maya couldn't read his expression. "Did you rebuild this engine?" he asked, not looking up. "Yes, sir. It was completely seized. I had to replace most of the internal components. New pistons, new crankshaft, new camshaft. I kept the original block because it was still good." He nodded, still looking at the engine. "What about the transmission?" "Also rebuilt. It needed new gears and a new clutch system. The original transmission housing was salvageable, though. Paint. Original factory color. 1970 Dodge Orange. Had to have it specially mixed because the formula isn't standard anymore." Vin Diesel finally looked up at her. His eyes were sharp and intelligent. He was studying her the same way he had studied the car. "You did all this yourself? In 3 weeks?" "Yes, sir. How?" Maya wasn't sure how to answer that. "I worked a lot of hours, and I had good training. My father was a mechanic. He taught me everything. Your father taught you well." Vin Diesel closed the hood carefully. Then he walked to the back of the car and opened the trunk. He examined the trunk space, checking the seal and the finish. He closed it and opened the passenger door. He sat in the seat and checked the feel. He adjusted the seat. He touched the dashboard. Maya had never felt so nervous. This car represented 3 weeks of her life. No sleep, no rest. Every skill she had learned. If Vin Diesel didn't like it, if he found problems, what would that mean? Would she still get paid? Would he tell everyone her work wasn't good enough? Finally, Vin Diesel got out of the car. He stood looking at it for a long moment. Then he turned to Maya. Can I hear it run? Of course. Maya got in and started the engine. It roared to life immediately, that perfect deep rumble of a classic muscle car. She let it idle for a moment, then gave it a little gas. The engine responded beautifully. Vin Diesel smiled. It was the first real expression she had seen on his face. That sounds right, he said. That sounds exactly right. Maya turned off the engine and got out. Thank you. No, thank you. This is exceptional work. This car looked like junk 3 weeks ago. Now it looks factory fresh. Better than factory fresh. He walked around the car one more time. The attention to detail is incredible. The panel gaps are perfect. The paint is flawless. The chrome is spotless. And that engine, he shook his head. That engine sounds like music. Maya felt relief flood through her. I'm glad you like it. I don't just like it. This is some of the best restoration work I've ever seen. He paused. How long have you been doing this? I've been working on cars since I was 8. I took over this shop when I was 22. That was 10 years ago. Vin Diesel looked around the shop. He saw the old photos on the walls. Pictures of cars with Maya's father standing beside them. He walked over to look at them more closely. Your father? He asked, pointing to one photo. Yes, this was his shop. He ran it for 30 years before he passed away. What was his name? Robert Santos. Vin Diesel nodded slowly, studying the photos. He looked proud in these pictures. Proud of the work? You can see it in his face. He loved cars. Classic cars especially. He said they had soul, not like modern cars. He said working on them was like bringing art back to life. He was right. Vin Diesel turned to look at her. And he'd be proud of you. This Charger proves that. Maya felt her throat get tight. She hadn't expected that. She hadn't expected this famous actor to understand what the work meant to her. Thank you, she said quietly. How's business? Vin Diesel asked suddenly. The question caught Maya off guard. Business? For the shop. You doing okay? Maya didn't know how to answer. Should she be honest? Should she pretend everything was fine? She decided on honesty. Not really. Big chains moved into the area. Hard to compete. People want cheap and fast. I do quality work, but it takes time. And costs more. Vin Diesel nodded like he understood. So this job was important. Yes, very important. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he looked at the notices on her desk. Maya had forgotten to put them away. The bank notices, the past due bills, they were all sitting right there in plain sight. That important? Vin Diesel asked, gesturing to the papers. Maya felt embarrassed. I probably shouldn't have those out. But yeah, this job was everything. I understand. Vin Diesel walked over to the desk. He picked up the bank notice. Maya wanted to grab it from him but didn't dare. He read it, then put it down. This is your last chance to save the shop. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. Maya nodded. How much do you need? I shouldn't have told you that. It's not your problem. How much? Maya sighed. 23,000? That's what I owe the bank. This job will cover it, barely. But it'll cover it. Vin Diesel was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, do you love this work? Yes, not just like it. Love it, I love it. It's all I've ever wanted to do. Work with cars. Make broken things beautiful again. Carry on what my father started. And you're good at it. I try to be. You are. Vin Diesel looked at the Charger again. This isn't just good work. This is passionate work. I can see it in every detail. Someone who just wants money doesn't do this level of restoration. Someone who loves the craft does. Maya didn't know what to say. She felt seen in a way she hadn't expected. This stranger understood exactly what the work meant to her. Can I ask you something? Vin Diesel said. Sure. Why do you do this alone? Why not hire help? Can't afford it. I had 2 guys working here a year ago. Had to let them go. Couldn't make payroll. But you could do more jobs with help. Maybe. But I can't hire people when I don't know if I can pay them next month. It's not fair to them. Vin Diesel nodded again. He seemed to be thinking about something. The production assistant was waiting by the truck looking impatient. But Vin Diesel didn't seem to notice or care. Do you know why I wanted to inspect this car personally? He asked. Not really. Because cars matter to me. They're not just props. They're not just tools. They tell stories. They have history. When I make a movie about cars, I want real cars. Cars that have been loved and cared for. Not fake movie cars. Real ones. He gestured to the Charger. This is a real car. It has a story now. It was dying and you brought it back to life. That's what I want in my films. Maya felt goosebumps on her arms. She had never thought about it that way. I also inspect cars because I want to know who worked on them. Vin Diesel continued. I want to know if they care about the craft. If they understand what these machines mean. Most mechanics just do the job. They fix what's broken and move on. But you, he pointed at her, you did more than fix this car. You restored its soul. That's what my father always said. Every car has a soul. He was right. Vin Diesel pulled out his phone. I'm going to give you my assistant's number. I have more cars. Classic cars. They need work from time to time. Real work, not just oil changes. I'd like you to work on them. Maya couldn't believe what she was hearing. You want me to work on your cars? Yes, if you're interested. I'm interested. Definitely interested. He handed his phone to his assistant, who put the contact information into Maya's phone. Then Vin Diesel walked to the door of the SUV. He paused before getting in. One more thing, he said. The Charger goes on the trailer. But don't think you're done with me. I'm going to bring you another car soon. Another restoration job? Something like that. He smiled slightly, a mysterious expression on his face. You should meet it first, though. I think you'll be surprised. Before Maya could ask what that meant, he got into the SUV. The assistant coordinated with the truck driver to load the Charger onto the carrier. Maya watched as her 3 weeks of work was carefully secured and driven away. She stood in her empty garage trying to process what had just happened. Vin Diesel had come to her shop. He had liked her work. More than liked it. He had understood it. And now he wanted to hire her for more jobs. She looked at her father's photo on the wall. Did you see that, Dad? Did you see? Her phone buzzed. A notification from her bank. The payment for the Charger restoration had just cleared. Maya checked the amount and her knees almost buckled. It wasn't triple her normal rate. It was quadruple. Plus a bonus. Plus a tip. The amount was enough to pay off the bank, cover her bills, and keep the shop running for 6 months. Maya sat down hard on her work stool. She started laughing and crying at the same time. 3 weeks of no sleep. 3 weeks of pain and doubt and fear. And it had worked. It had actually worked. The shop was saved. Her father's legacy was saved. And somehow a movie star had become her new client. Maya looked at the empty space where the Charger had been. Then she looked at Vin Diesel's assistant's contact information in her phone. She wondered what he meant about bringing her another car. What could that mean? She had no idea that what came next would be even more surprising than what just happened. But for now, she let herself feel the victory. She had done the impossible. And she had done it the way her father taught her. With skill, with love, and with magic hands. Maya spent the next day catching up on sleep. She slept for 14 hours straight, and woke up feeling like a new person. Her body still ached. But the crushing exhaustion was finally gone. She made coffee, paid her bills online, and transferred the money to the bank. For the first time in 2 years, she wasn't behind on her mortgage. That afternoon, she opened the shop and started organizing. The place was a mess from the Charger restoration. Tools were scattered everywhere. Parts boxes were stacked in corners. She spent hours cleaning and putting everything back where it belonged. Mrs. Chen came by with lunch. You look better, she said. Less like a zombie, Maya laughed. I feel better. The job paid well. Really well. The shop is safe for now. I'm proud of you. Your father would be too. Mrs. Chen handed her the food. Everyone in the neighborhood is talking about yesterday. They say a movie star came to your shop. News travels fast. This is a small neighborhood. When Vin Diesel shows up, people notice. Mrs. Chen smiled. You're famous now. Maya shook her head. I'm not famous. I just fixed a car. You did more than that. You did something special. People can see that. After Mrs. Chen left, Maya ate her lunch and thought about what Vin Diesel had said. He wanted to bring her another car. She kept wondering what that meant. Another restoration job? Something smaller? She had no idea, but she was excited to find out. The rest of the day was quiet. She worked on the Honda Civic that had been sitting there for weeks. The owner had finally paid his deposit so she could finish the job. It was simple work compared to the Charger. Brake pads, oil change, new battery. She had it done in 3 hours. That night, she closed the shop and walked home feeling peaceful. She had enough money now. She had a famous client who wanted to hire her again. Maybe things were finally turning around. The next morning started normal. Maya opened the shop at 8. She had 2 oil changes scheduled and a tire rotation. Easy jobs that would bring in steady money. She was working on the first oil change when her phone rang. It was Vin Diesel's assistant. "Hi Maya, this is Jason, Mr. Diesel's assistant. We spoke 2 days ago, I remember. How can I help you?" "Mr. Diesel wants to bring by a vehicle this afternoon, around 2 o'clock. Will you be there?" "Absolutely." "What kind of vehicle?" "I'll let it be a surprise. Just make sure you have space in your garage." "I have space. I'll be ready." Maya hung up and felt nervous excitement. What was he bringing? Another Charger? A different classic car? She spent the morning finishing the oil changes and cleaning the shop again. She wanted everything to look professional. At 1:45, she saw vehicles pulling up outside, the same black SUV from before, but behind it was a large car carrier truck, an enclosed one so she couldn't see what was inside. Maya walked outside, wiping her hands on her work apron. Vin Diesel stepped out of the SUV. He was wearing jeans and a black t-shirt again, like it was his uniform. He smiled when he saw her. "Good afternoon, Maya." "Good afternoon, Mr. Diesel." "Just Vin, we're going to be working together. No need for formality." "Okay." "Vin." It felt strange to call a movie star by his first name, but she did it anyway. "So, I told you I wanted you to meet another car." Vin walked toward the carrier truck. "This one is special. Very special to me." The truck driver opened the back of the carrier. A ramp extended down. Maya tried to see inside, but it was dark. Then she heard an engine start. A deep, powerful rumble that made her heart skip. A car rolled down the ramp. Maya's jaw dropped. It was a 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, one of the rarest muscle cars ever made. The distinctive nose cone and huge rear wing made it unmistakable. The car was painted a gorgeous blue with white stripes. The chrome gleamed in the afternoon sun. It looked absolutely perfect. "Oh my God," Maya whispered. She had only seen these cars in magazines and at museums. They were worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some sold for over $500,000. "You know what it is," Vin said, watching her face. "It's a Daytona, 1969. There were only about 500 ever made. They were built for NASCAR racing." Maya walked closer, not quite daring to touch it. "This is incredible. I've never seen one in person. Want to hear something crazy? This one is all original. Matching numbers. Original paint. Original interior. Original engine. Never been restored because it never needed to be. Just maintained." Maya looked at the car in awe. "It's beautiful. Why did you bring it here?" Vin looked at her with that same unreadable expression from 2 days ago. "I want to ask you something, and I need you to really think about your answer." "Okay. Do you love what you do? Not just the work, but this shop, this life, carrying on your father's legacy?" Maya didn't need to think. "Yes, absolutely." "Even though it's hard? Even though you almost lost everything?" "Yes. I can't imagine doing anything else." Vin nodded. "That's what I thought. That's what I saw in the Charger. Someone who does this work because they love it, not because they want money or fame. Someone who understands what these cars mean." Maya didn't know where this was going, but her heart was beating fast. "I've been where you are," Vin continued. "Not with cars, with acting. There was a time when I was broke, living in my car, couldn't pay rent, couldn't afford food sometimes. But I kept going because I loved it, because I couldn't imagine doing anything else." Maya had heard stories like that about him, how he had struggled before he became famous. "People helped me along the way," Vin said. "Directors who took a chance on me, producers who believed in me, people who saw my passion and wanted to support it. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am today." "That's amazing," Maya said. "It taught me something. When you see someone with real talent and real passion, someone who's struggling not because they're lazy, but because life is hard, you should help them if you can. You should give them the chance they deserve." Vin walked to the Daytona and put his hand on the hood. "I brought this car here for you. You want me to work on it? It looks perfect already." "No. I brought it here to give it to you." Maya's brain stopped working. She stared at him. "What?" This car is yours. I'm giving it to you. That's not funny. I'm not joking. Maya looked at the Daytona, then back at Vin. You can't give me this car. Do you know what it's worth? Around $300,000 depending on the market. Exactly. That's insane. I can't accept this. Why not? Because it's too much. Because I barely know you. Because I just fixed one car for you. This doesn't make sense. Vin smiled. Let me explain why it makes perfect sense. You saved your shop by doing an impossible job. But what happens in 6 months when that money runs out? You'll be right back where you started. Struggling to compete with chains. Struggling to pay bills. Maybe you survive. Maybe you don't. Maya couldn't argue with that. It was exactly what worried her. Or, Vin continued, you could have this car. You could sell it and have enough money to save your shop for years. You could upgrade your equipment. You could hire help. You could build the business into something stable. But I can't just take a $300,000 car from you. Why not? I'm choosing to give it to you. It's my car and my choice. But why? Why me? Vin walked closer to her. Because I saw your work. I saw your passion. I saw someone who deserves a chance. And I have more money than I could ever spend. This car means a lot to me. But it means more knowing it went to someone who will appreciate it. Someone who understands what it represents. Maya felt tears starting. I don't know what to say. Say thank you. Say you'll accept it. Say you'll use it to build something lasting. But what if I sell it? What if I just take the money and run? You won't. I know you won't. Because you're not that person. You're the person who worked 20 hours a day for 3 weeks to make a car perfect. You're the person carrying on your father's legacy. You're going to keep this car or use its value to build something he'd be proud of. Maya looked at the Daytona. It was the most beautiful car she had ever seen. She thought about what it could mean. Security for the shop. The ability to hire help. New equipment. She could finally breathe. But it still felt wrong to accept something so valuable from someone she barely knew. I see you thinking, Vin said. You're thinking it's too much. You're thinking you don't deserve it. You're thinking there must be a catch, isn't there? No catch. But I do have one hope. Not a requirement, just a hope. What? I hope you'll keep the car for a while before you decide what to do with it. Put it in your shop. Look at it. Remember that someone believed in you. Let it remind you that your work matters. Then when you're ready, decide if you want to sell it or keep it. Your choice. Maya wiped her eyes. Why are you doing this? Because someone helped me once. And I promised myself that if I ever made it, I'd help others. You're talented, Maya. You deserve a chance to succeed. This is me giving you that chance. Vin pulled an envelope from his pocket. The title is being transferred to your name. It'll take a few days for the paperwork to go through, but this car is legally yours. There's also something else in here. He handed her the envelope. Maya opened it with shaking hands. Inside was the car title with her name on it. There was also a letter. She read it quickly. The letter explained everything Vin had said. But at the bottom was one more thing, a contract. Vin Diesel wanted her shop to maintain his personal collection of classic cars. There were 10 cars in his collection. Regular maintenance, occasional repairs, and sometimes restoration work. The contract guaranteed steady work for the next 5 years. You're serious, Maya said, looking up. All of this is real. All of it. The car is yours. The contract is real. All I need is your signature if you want the work. Of course I want the work. Then we have a deal. Vin held out his hand. Maya shook it, still barely believing this was happening. The driver brought the Daytona's keys. Vin handed them to Maya. She's all yours. Take good care of her. Maya held the keys. They felt heavy with meaning. This wasn't just a car. This was a lifeline. This was validation. This was proof that her work mattered. I don't know how to thank you, she said. Thank me by succeeding. Thank me by keeping the shop alive. Thank me by doing what you love and doing it well. Vin started walking back to his SUV. Oh, and one more thing. I'll be bringing my first car from the collection next week. It's a 1967 Mustang. Needs some work. You up for it? I'm up for it. Good. I'll call you with the details. Vin got in the SUV. He rolled down the window. Your father would be proud, Maya. I hope you know that. Then he drove away, leaving Maya standing next to a $300,000 car that now belonged to her. She stood there for a long time, just staring at the Daytona. The blue paint gleamed. The chrome sparkled. It was real. This was really happening. Mrs. Chen came running out of her restaurant. What is that? Why is that car here? It's mine, Maya said, still not quite believing it. What do you mean it's yours? Vin Diesel gave it to me. Mrs. Chen stared at her. That man gave you that car? Yes. That car that probably costs more than my restaurant? Yes. Mrs. Chen looked at the car, then at Maya, then back at the car. Then she hugged Maya hard. Your father is watching. He sent that man to help you. I know he did. Maya hugged her back, crying again. Maybe Mrs. Chen was right. Maybe her father had something to do with this. Or maybe it was just luck. Or maybe it was the universe rewarding hard work. Whatever it was, Maya was grateful. She spent the rest of the afternoon sitting in the shop, looking at the Daytona. She sat in the driver's seat. She touched the steering wheel. She breathed in the smell of old leather and history. This car represented possibility. It represented a future. It represented the fact that sometimes when you work hard and do things right, good things happen. Maya pulled out her phone and took a picture of the Daytona. Then she sent a text to Vin's assistant. Thank you. I don't have the words, but thank you. I won't let him down. The response came quickly. He knows you won't. That's why he chose you. Maya looked at her father's photo on the wall. Did you see that, Dad? Did you see what just happened? Everything is going to be okay. The shop is safe. Your legacy is safe. And I'm going to make you proud. The photo didn't answer, but Maya felt like she heard her father's voice anyway. You already have, sweetheart. You already have. Maya didn't sleep much that night. She kept thinking about the Daytona sitting in her garage. Every few hours she got up and walked to the shop just to make sure it was still there. That it was real. That she hadn't dreamed the whole thing. Each time, the car sat there gleaming under the shop lights. Beautiful and real and hers. She made a decision before the sun came up. She wouldn't sell the car. Not right away. Maybe not ever. Vin was right. This car was more than money. It was a reminder that someone believed in her. She would keep it in the shop where she could see it every day, where it could inspire her. The morning brought something unexpected. Customers. Lots of them. The story about Vin Diesel giving her the car had spread through the neighborhood overnight. By 9 in the morning, people were stopping by just to see the Daytona. Some wanted photos. Some wanted to hear the story, and some wanted to hire her for work. I heard Vin Diesel trusts you with his cars, an older man said. If you're good enough for him, you're good enough for me. My Corvette needs work. When can you fit me in? By noon, Maya had scheduled 5 new jobs. Real jobs, not just oil changes. A transmission rebuild, a brake system overhaul, 2 classic car restorations, and a full engine tune-up. Each one would pay well and take several days. Mrs. Chen brought lunch and found Maya surrounded by paperwork. You need help, she said, looking at the schedule. I know, I'm thinking about hiring someone. Do it today, you have too much work for one person now. Maya knew she was right. She posted an ad online for an experienced mechanic. Within an hour, she had 20 responses. She scheduled interviews for the next day. That afternoon, a reporter from the local newspaper came by. Can I do a story about you in the car? She asked. Human interest piece. Local mechanic gets gift from movie star. People love stories like that. Maya was hesitant. She didn't want attention. She just wanted to work, but the reporter was friendly and persistent. Finally, Maya agreed to a short interview. The story ran 2 days later. It was on the front page of the local section. Mechanic's hard work pays off in unexpected way. The article told about the charger restoration, about Maya's father, about the struggling shop, and about Vin's gift. It included a photo of Maya standing next to the Daytona. That article changed everything. Maya's phone started ringing constantly. People from all over Los Angeles wanted to hire her. Some had classic cars. Some just wanted their regular cars fixed by the mechanic Vin Diesel trusts. She had to start turning down work because her schedule was full. She hired 2 mechanics that week. Tommy, a 50-year-old with 30 years of experience, and Sarah, a 25-year-old fresh out of technical school but talented and eager to learn. Maya trained them carefully, teaching them her standards. No shortcuts. No rushing. Quality work only. With help, she could handle more jobs. The shop started making real money. Not just barely surviving money. Actually profitable money. 3 weeks after receiving the Daytona, Vin called her personally. Not his assistant, him. Maya, it's Vin, how are things going? They're incredible. I hired 2 people. The shop is booked solid for the next 2 months. I can't believe how much has changed. I'm glad. You deserve the success. Listen, I have that Mustang I mentioned. Can I bring it by tomorrow? Absolutely. What kind of work does it need? Carburetor rebuild. Some electrical issues. Maybe new shocks. Nothing major, but I want it done right. We'll take care of it. The Mustang arrived the next day. It was a gorgeous green color with black racing stripes. Maya assigned the work to Tommy, supervising to make sure everything met her standards. The car was done in 5 days. Perfect work. Vin picked it up personally. He inspected every detail, then nodded with approval. Excellent. Just what I wanted. I'll be sending you another car next month. Over the next few months, Maya worked on 4 more cars from Vin's collection. A 1970 Plymouth Barracuda, a 1968 Chevrolet Camaro, a 1971 Ford Torino, and a rare 1969 Mercury Cougar. Each restoration or repair was photographed and documented. Maya's reputation grew with each job. Word spread in the classic car community. If you had a valuable car, you took it to Maya Santos. She was the mechanic that Vin Diesel trusted. Other celebrities started calling. Musicians, athletes, tech executives. People with money and rare cars who wanted the best. Maya had to expand. She rented the shop space next door when the tenant moved out. She bought new equipment. She hired 2 more mechanics. The business that had been dying 6 months ago was now thriving, but Maya never forgot why she was there. She kept prices fair. She took time to talk to every customer. She never rushed a job. She maintained the standards her father had taught her. The Daytona stayed in her main garage, displayed prominently where everyone could see it. She put a small plaque next to it, given by someone who believes in craftsmanship. People asked if it was for sale. She always said no. 6 months after receiving the car, Maya was working late on a Saturday night. She was alone in the shop, putting the finishing touches on a 1972 Dodge Challenger restoration. Tommy and Sarah had gone home hours ago, but Maya wanted to finish this last detail. She heard someone knock on the door. Through the window, she saw Vin Diesel standing outside. She quickly opened the door. I saw the lights on, Vin said. Thought I'd stop by. Hope that's okay, of course. Come in. Vin walked around the expanded shop. He saw the new equipment, the organized workspace, the 3 cars in various stages of work. Look at this place. You've really grown. Because of you. Because of what you did for me. No. Because of your skill and hard work. I just gave you a chance. You did the rest. They walked to where the Daytona sat. Vin ran his hand along its hood. You kept it. I couldn't sell it. Every time I look at it, I remember that someone believed in me. On my worst days, when work is hard or something goes wrong, I look at this car and remember that I can do this, that I'm good enough. Vin smiled. That's exactly why I gave it to you. Money comes and goes, but having something that reminds you of your worth, that's priceless. I can't thank you enough for what you've done for me. You've thanked me by succeeding, by doing excellent work, by treating my cars with respect. Vin looked at the Challenger she had been working on. Whose car is that? A customer from Beverly Hills, collector who heard about the shop. He's paying very well for a full restoration. Good, you should be paid well. You're one of the best mechanics I've ever met. Maya felt pride at those words. Coming from someone like Vin, who had access to the best mechanics in the world, it meant everything. Can I ask you something? Maya said. Sure. Why did you really give me the car? The real reason, not just because you wanted to help someone. Vin was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "My father was a mechanic. Not for classic cars, just regular cars. He worked in a small shop in New York, struggled his whole life to keep it running. He taught me to love cars, to respect the work, to understand that fixing things is an art." Maya hadn't known that. "He died when I was young," Vin continued. "The shop closed after he passed. I always wished someone had helped him, someone with resources who could have given him a chance to succeed. But nobody did. He worked himself to death trying to keep that shop alive. I'm sorry. When I met you, I saw him. Someone talented, working alone, fighting to keep a family business alive. I thought about how different his life might have been if someone had helped. So I helped you. Not just for you, but for him. For the chance I never got to give him." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Your father would be proud of you." "I hope so. Just like your father is proud of you." They stood there quietly, two people connected by their father's legacies, by their love of cars, by understanding what it means to work with your hands and your heart. "You know what the best part is?" Vin said. "You're going to help others now. You hired people. You gave them jobs. You're teaching Sarah the same way your father taught you. You're passing it on. That's what matters." Maya realized he was right. She was creating opportunities for others now. She was building something bigger than herself. "I need to get going," Vin said, "but I wanted to check on you. Make sure you were doing okay." "I'm doing better than okay. I'm thriving." "Good, keep it up." Vin walked to the door, then turned back. "Oh, one more thing. I'm working on a new movie. We need several classic cars for it. Big budget, high profile. I recommended you to the production company. They'll probably call next week." "Really?" "Really. Could be your biggest job yet. You interested?" "Absolutely." "Good, you've earned it." Vin opened the door. "Take care, Maya, and take care of that Daytona." "I will." "Thank you, Vin, for everything." After he left, Maya stood in the quiet shop. She looked around at everything she had built. The expanded space, the new equipment, the team of mechanics she had hired, the schedule full of work for months ahead. 6 months ago, she had been alone and desperate, facing the end of her father's dream. Now she was running a successful business, working with incredible cars and helping others along the way. She walked to her father's photo on the wall. It had been there so long that she sometimes forgot to really look at it. She studied his face now, his smile, his proud stance next to that restored Charger. "I did it, Dad," she said softly. "I saved our shop. I'm making it grow. And I'm doing it the right way, your way, with quality and care and love for the work." She thought about Vin's father too, another mechanic who struggled, another person who loved cars and worked hard but never got the break he deserved. In a way, helping Maya was Vin's way of honoring his own father. Maya made a decision right then. She would do the same. When she met young mechanics who were struggling but talented, she would help them. She would hire them. She would teach them. She would give them chances. That's what this gift had taught her. Success isn't just about making money or building a business. It's about lifting others up. It's about passing on knowledge and opportunity. It's about honoring those who came before by helping those who come after. She turned off the lights and locked up the shop. As she walked away, she looked back at the building one more time. Her father's name was still on the sign, Santos Auto Repair. It would stay there forever. And next to it, she had added a new line, quality work since 1975. That was the year her father opened the shop. She wanted everyone to know the history, the legacy, the 50 years of skill and passion that lived in this place. Maya walked home under the stars, thinking about how life can change in unexpected ways, how one act of kindness can transform everything, how hard work does pay off even when it seems impossible. She thought about the scared woman she had been 6 months ago, working alone on an impossible deadline, not sure if she would make it. And she thought about the strong woman she was now, running a growing business, leading a team, doing what she loved. Both were her. Both were part of her story, and she was grateful for all of it. Tomorrow, she would start on the Beverly Hills Challenger restoration. She would teach Sarah some advanced techniques. She would review Tommy's work on the Porsche in Bay 3. She would order parts for next week's jobs. She would do all the things that successful shop owners do, but tonight she would rest. She would remember, and she would be grateful for her father, who taught her everything, for Vin, who believed in her, and for herself, for not giving up even when things seemed impossible. The shop was safe. The dream was alive. And the future was bright. That was enough. That was everything. 1 year after receiving the Daytona, Maya stood in her shop on a sunny Saturday morning. The place was transformed. Where there had once been one small garage bay, there were now 4. Where she had worked alone, there were now 6 employees. Where there had been fear and uncertainty, there was now confidence and success. The movie production company Vin had mentioned did call. They hired Maya to prepare and maintain 12 classic cars for a major action film. The contract was worth more than she used to make in an entire year. The work took 3 months, but it was steady and profitable. It also led to more Hollywood connections. Now she regularly worked on cars for films and TV shows. But Maya never forgot her roots. Half of her business was still regular customers from the neighborhood. The people who had supported her father. The people who had brought her food when she was struggling. She made sure to take care of them, keeping prices fair and doing honest work. Tommy had become her right-hand man. He managed the day-to-day operations so Maya could focus on the complex restoration projects. Sarah had blossomed into an excellent mechanic, especially skilled with electrical systems. The other 4 employees were all talented and dedicated. Maya had built a real team. The Daytona still sat in the main garage. Maya had never sold it. She never would. It was worth more as a reminder than as money in the bank. Every employee knew the story. Every customer heard about it. The car represented what the shop stood for: quality, passion, and the belief that hard work matters. That Saturday morning, Maya was expecting someone special. She had invited local high school students who were interested in automotive careers. She wanted to show them what was possible. She wanted to inspire them the way her father had inspired her. 15 teenagers arrived at 10 o'clock. They were excited and curious, looking around at the cars and equipment. Maya gathered them in the main garage near the Daytona. "Welcome to Santos Auto Repair," she said. "My father started this shop 50 years ago. He taught me everything I know about cars. And today, I want to teach you some basics and show you what a career as a mechanic can look like." She spent 2 hours with them. She showed them how to change oil properly, how to check brake pads, how to read engine codes. She let them work on a practice car, guiding their hands the way her father had guided hers. One girl, about 16 with her hair in braids, was particularly interested. She asked smart questions and worked carefully. Her name was Jasmine. "You're a natural," Maya told her. "Really? My dad says being a mechanic isn't a real career. He wants me to go to college for business." "You can do both. I went to technical school and took business classes. But more importantly, being a mechanic is absolutely a real career. It's an art, it's a craft. It's using your brain and your hands to solve problems and create something beautiful." Jasmine looked at the Daytona. "Is that car really yours?" "It is. Someone gave it to me because he believed in my work, because he saw my passion and wanted to support it. That's amazing." "It is. But you know what's more amazing? That person was once struggling just like I was. He was broke and living in his car. But he didn't give up. He kept working, and when he succeeded, he remembered what it felt like to struggle, so he helped others." Maya looked at all the students. "That's what I want you to remember today. Success isn't just about making money or getting famous. It's about doing good work, helping others, and building something that matters. If you work hard and stay passionate, opportunities will come. But you have to be ready for them." After the students left, Sarah approached Maya. "That was really cool what you did. Those kids were so inspired. I hope so. Some of them might become mechanics. Some might do something completely different. But they'll all remember that someone took time to teach them something." "Is that why you do it?" "These community days? Partly. But mostly I do it because my father would have. He believed in giving back, in sharing knowledge, in making the world a little better." Sarah nodded. "You're a good teacher. You've taught me so much this year. You're a good student. You work hard and you care about quality. That's what matters." That afternoon, Maya got an unexpected phone call. It was Vin. "Hey Maya, how's it going?" "Good, really good. I just did a workshop for high school kids. Taught them basic car maintenance. That's great. You're paying it forward." "I love that." Vin paused. "Listen, I'm calling because I want to invite you to something. I'm hosting a charity car show next month. Classic cars only. All the proceeds go to vocational education programs. I'd like you to bring the Daytona and maybe talk about your story. Really? You want me to speak? Yeah, your story is inspiring. Young mechanic inherits struggling shop, works herself to exhaustion, gets a break. Builds something amazing. People need to hear stories like that. I don't know if I'm a good public speaker. Just tell the truth. That's all you need to do. Tell them what you've learned. Tell them why craftsmanship matters. Tell them about your father. Maya thought about it. The idea of speaking in front of people was terrifying. But it was for a good cause. And if her story could help vocational programs get funding, that was worth being scared. Okay, I'll do it. Excellent. I'll send you the details. The charity car show was bigger than Maya expected. Hundreds of classic cars, thousands of people. There was a stage where speakers talked about supporting vocational education, about the importance of skilled trades, about giving young people opportunities. When it was Maya's turn to speak, she stood backstage feeling nervous. She looked at her notes, but her hands were shaking. Then she saw Vin nearby. He gave her a thumbs up and mouthed, "You've got this." Maya walked onto the stage. The crowd was huge. She took a deep breath and started talking. My name is Maya Santos. My father was a mechanic. He taught me to love cars when I was 8 years old. He showed me that fixing things isn't just a job. It's an art. It's taking something broken and making it beautiful again. She told them about inheriting the shop, about struggling to keep it alive, about the impossible 3-week deadline, about meeting Vin and receiving the Daytona. She talked about what the gift meant beyond the money, about being seen and valued and believed in. That car changed my life, she said, pointing to where the Daytona sat on display, but not because of what it was worth in dollars. It changed my life because someone saw my potential. Someone gave me a chance, and that changed everything. She talked about her employees, about Tommy and Sarah and the others, about teaching young people, about passing on knowledge. My father used to say that working with your hands is just as important as working with your mind. Actually, it's both. Being a mechanic requires intelligence, creativity, problem-solving, and skill. It requires passion and dedication. It requires art. Maya looked out at the audience. We need young people to learn these trades. We need mechanics and electricians and plumbers and welders. We need people who can build and fix things. And we need to support them. We need to give them chances. We need to believe in them. She finished her speech and walked off stage. The applause was loud and long. People came up to her afterward, thanking her for her words. Several said they were inspired to support vocational programs. A few parents said they would support their kids' interest in trades. Vin found her later. You killed it. That was perfect. I was so nervous. You didn't look it. You looked confident and passionate. That's what people needed to hear. The car show raised over $2 million for vocational education. Maya's story was featured in several news articles and on social media. Suddenly, more people knew about her in the shop. The increased attention brought more business, but it also brought something else. Other mechanics started reaching out to her. People who were struggling the way she had struggled. They asked for advice. They wanted to know how she succeeded. Maya started responding to every message. She gave honest advice about business, about finding customers, about maintaining quality. She didn't keep secrets. She shared what had worked for her. One mechanic, a woman named Lisa who ran a shop in San Diego, was about to lose everything. Maya drove down to meet her. She looked at Lisa's shop, her work, her situation. Then she helped her create a business plan. She connected Lisa with some of her Hollywood contacts who needed work in San Diego. She gave Lisa hope. 6 months later, Lisa's shop was thriving. She called Maya crying with gratitude. You saved my business. You didn't have to help me, but you did. Someone helped me, Maya said. Now I help others. That's how it should work. Maya started getting invited to speak at trade schools and technical colleges. She talked to students about careers in automotive work. She emphasized that being a mechanic was a respected, valuable career, that it required intelligence and skill, that it was something to be proud of. She also started a mentorship program at her shop. Young mechanics could apply to work with her team for 3 months, learning advanced techniques. Maya didn't charge them. She paid them a small wage and taught them everything she knew. The program became competitive, hundreds of applications for just 4 spots. Maya carefully selected students who showed both skill and passion. She taught them the same way her father had taught her, with patience, with high standards, with love for the craft. 2 years after receiving the Daytona, Maya's shop had become one of the most respected in Los Angeles. Celebrities and collectors from around the world sent their cars to her. She had expanded again, now with 12 employees and a separate building for restoration projects. But success hadn't changed her core values. She still worked with her hands every day. She still took time to talk to every customer. She still kept her father's photo on the wall and talked to it when she faced problems. She still remembered what it felt like to be desperate and scared, working alone with no guarantee of success. That memory kept her humble. It kept her grateful. It kept her willing to help others who were in that same place. One morning, Maya arrived at the shop to find a young man waiting outside. He was about 25, wearing dirty work clothes. He looked tired and worried. "Can I help you?" Maya asked. "Are you Maya Santos?" "I am. My name is David. I run a small shop in East LA. I'm about to lose it. I can't compete with the chains. I'm 3 months behind on rent. I saw your story and I thought maybe you'd have advice." Maya looked at him and saw herself from 2 years ago, desperate but not willing to give up. "Working hard but struggling anyway. Come inside," she said. "Let's talk." They sat in her office for 2 hours. David told her about his shop, his challenges, his dreams. Maya listened and gave advice. She shared what had worked for her. She talked about quality over speed, about building relationships, about finding a niche. Then she made him an offer. "I need cars delivered between here and East LA sometimes. Classic cars that need transport. If you do that work for me, I'll pay you well. It'll help with your rent while you build up your repair business." David's eyes filled with tears. "You do that for me?" "Someone did it for me. Now I do it for others." She also connected David with some of her customers who lived in East LA, people who would rather support a local shop than drive across the city. She gave him her honest recommendation, telling them he did good work. Over the next year, David's shop stabilized and started growing. He called Maya regularly for advice. She always took his calls, always gave her time, because that's what you do when you've been given a chance. You pass it on. 3 years after receiving the Daytona, Maya hosted a celebration at her shop. It was the 53rd anniversary of Santos Auto Repair. Her father had opened it in 1975 and it was still going strong. The whole neighborhood came. Mrs. Chen brought food from her restaurant. The baker brought a huge cake. Tommy and Sarah and all the employees were there. Customers came, both old and new. Vin Diesel made a surprise appearance which caused excitement. Maya stood on a small platform and addressed the crowd. "Thank you all for coming. This shop has been part of this neighborhood for over 50 years. My father built it with his hands and his heart. He taught me that working with cars is about more than fixing things. It's about caring for people's needs. It's about doing honest work. It's about building something that lasts." She looked at the Daytona still displayed prominently. 3 years ago, I was ready to lose everything. This shop, my father's legacy, my dreams. I was working alone, struggling, scared. Then someone gave me a chance. Someone believed in me, and that changed everything. Maya looked at Vin, who smiled and nodded. But that gift taught me something important. We're all connected. When someone helps us, we have a responsibility to help others. When someone believes in us, we should believe in others. When someone gives us a chance, we should give chances to others. She gestured to her employees. These people work here because I believe in them. Because I want to give them opportunities the way I was given an opportunity. Some of them will stay here forever. Some will leave to start their own shops. Either way, they'll carry on what they learned. They'll pass it on. Maya paused, emotion filling her throat. My father would be proud of this place. Not because it's successful, though it is. Not because we work on expensive cars, though we do. He'd be proud because we do honest work. Because we treat people with respect. Because we never forget where we came from. She raised her glass. To my father, Robert Santos, who taught me everything. To Vin Diesel, who gave me a chance. To this neighborhood, which supported me. To my team, who works beside me. And to everyone here who believes that craftsmanship matters, that quality matters, that doing things right matters. Thank you. The crowd cheered and raised their glasses. Maya stepped down and was immediately surrounded by people wanting to congratulate her. To share memories of her father. To thank her for what she did for the community. Later, as the party wound down, Maya found herself alone with Vin for a moment. They stood near the Daytona looking at it. You kept your promise, Vin said. You built something lasting. You help others. You honor the craft I learned from the best. My father first. Then you. I just gave you a car. No, you gave me hope. You gave me validation. You showed me that my work mattered. That gift was worth more than any amount of money. Vin put his hand on the Daytona's hood. I'm glad it went to you. This car found the right home. Thank you. For everything. For changing my life. You changed your own life. I just opened a door. You walked through it and built something amazing. After everyone left and the shop was quiet, Maya did what she always did. She walked to her father's photo. She looked at his smile, his proud stance, his love for the work captured forever in that moment. We did it, Dad. We saved the shop. We're doing it right. We're making a difference. And I'm teaching others just like you taught me. She thought about everything that had happened. The desperate struggle. The impossible deadline. The moment Vin Diesel stepped into her shop. The gift that changed everything. The growth and success. The opportunity to help others. It had been a journey. A hard one. But worth every moment. Maya turned off the lights and locked the door. She looked at the sign one more time. Santos Auto Repair. Quality work since 1975. It would be there for another 50 years. Another 100. As long as there were people who loved cars, who valued craftsmanship, who believed that fixing things with skill and care mattered, she had kept her father's dream alive. She had built on his foundation, and she was passing it on to the next generation. That was success. Not the money or the fame or the celebrity clients. The real success was in carrying on a legacy of quality, in helping others find their way and doing work that mattered. Maya walked home under the stars, thinking about how far she had come. From the scared woman working alone to the confident business owner leading a team, from struggle to success, from despair to hope, but most importantly from receiving help to giving it, from being lifted up to lifting others, from being believed in to believing in others. That was the real gift Vin Diesel had given her. Not just a car, not just financial security, but the understanding that success means helping others succeed, that being given a chance creates a responsibility to give chances, that the best way to honor those who help us is to help others in turn. Maya thought about Jasmine, the student from the workshop. She had called last week to say she was enrolled in technical school. She wanted to be a mechanic. Maya had offered her a job when she graduated. She thought about David in East LA, whose shop was now thriving. About Lisa in San Diego, who had turned her business around. About the dozens of young mechanics she had mentored. About Tommy and Sarah and all her employees who were learning and growing. That was the real measure of success. Not what you have, but what you give. Not what you achieve, but who you help. Not what you keep, but what you pass on. Maya looked up at the stars. She felt her father's presence. She felt Vin's belief in her. She felt the weight of responsibility and the joy of purpose. Tomorrow she would open the shop and do it all again. Fix cars, teach employees, help customers, build the business, pass on knowledge, make her father proud, but tonight she would rest. She would remember, and she would be grateful for the journey, for the gift, for the opportunity to build something that mattered, for magic hands that fixed cars and changed lives, for a father's legacy and a stranger's kindness, for the knowledge that hard work, passion, and quality never go out of style, and for the simple truth that had carried her through everything. When you do good work and help others, good things come back to you. The shop was safe, the dream was alive, and the future was bright with possibility.